It's 8:14 at iFiber One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey. I'm happy to have in studio Christina Fremont from Mason Transit for this week's Transit Talk. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. A little wet out there, like
Sure,
you said, but
it is.
I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I have duck feathers. Just rolls right off.
Just rolls right off. Do you carry an umbrella with you?
No, you're a tourist if you carry an umbrella. We all know this. Come on, act like you're from here.
What if it was one of those umbrella hats, though? Would you fancy that, maybe?
Well, it depends on the occasion. If it called for it, yes, I would rock the umbrella hat.
Okay.
But
Very
not
good.
to actually protect myself from the rain. It would be some other silly reason.
One of the things, I was driving into work today, and it still is a beautiful sight to see, is if you're driving down Railroad into the downtown core, you look there at the corner of 7th and Railroad, and you can see over some of the buildings the outline of the Transit Community Center. And seeing it being built, knowing what it was going to do for the community, still is a very exciting thing. And it is benefiting the community in multiple ways. We've got a transit stop for folks that has never had something like this before, where there's a lot of covers. We were just talking about the rain. It's got opportunities for businesses to rent out. But
we're almost full, actually.
That's why you were saying that a couple weeks ago, that you were almost full. So that's good, too. There are cooking classes. There's all sorts of things at the Transit Community Center. Also, pretty good security over there, right?
Yeah. I'm glad that you bring that up. Some fun stories to share, and I think it's really neat because our transit center, a community center, and the security there doesn't just benefit us and our customers and our tenants, but also benefits the community at large. And specifically, our cameras. We have like 25 or 28 cameras around and in that building. And so I don't know if you heard about the folks who unfortunately had their vehicles stolen from Safeway about a week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, they were able to apprehend the person, the alleged suspect who stole those cars because of our cameras. Our cameras not only cover there, they cover kind of down the street of Franklin, down the alleyway, and some of them have the ability to kind of see over into the Safeway parking lot.
Really?
So,
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah. So, and then while frustrating for the folks who lost their vehicles, great for the community that, this person was able to be apprehended. And then on the flip side, a little bit of a happier ending story is that there was somebody in the community whose son's bicycle was stolen, and they had been posting flyers and stuff like that trying to look for it. And our transit center manager, Kathy Geist, happened to be leaving and saw a bike leaning against the building in the alleyway and kind of looked at it and then talked to one of her assistants there and said, "Hey, go check that flyer. I think that might be that bike." And what do you know? It was the bike.
What a good story.
Our camera picked up a person putting the bike there. I can't say that Maya was the person who stole it. We don't know, but we just know that we were able to provide that then to the police so then they can investigate that as appropriate.
Oh, wow.
And the person got their bike back.
Yeah.
So the son got his bike back, which I think is really, really neat. So we do more than just drive buses and transport people, keeping the community safe.
25, 28, somewhere around 30 cameras there. How else is that place monitored for security? Is it Shelton Police? Is there someone from Mason Transit?
We have a really good relationship with the local police department, and sometimes they'll come over and they'll just walk around and just have their presence be known. Other things is our staff is really on top of it there. Kathy and other staff, they go and they walk the perimeter every few hours. They pick up stuff if things get dropped, kind of thing. So, and then of course there's security system in the evening when we're not there. But just having a really strong presence, I think, and being welcoming to the community while at the same time having firm boundaries and rules and sticking by them.
And everybody seems to kind of handle I know there was some of the questions about the loitering and you stand
we have a no loitering policy. So if you're not there to visit one of the tenants and get services or to catch a bus, we ask you to leave. I think folks can be there about an hour before we start questioning, and if they're not getting on a bus soon, we ask them to leave. So, yeah.
Were you guys at Oyster Fest?
We were not this year, actually. Unfortunately, series of events. I heard it was really great. And, like true Pacific Northwesterners we all came out even though there was rain and everybody had a good time.
When it comes to those type of events, though, when you see people, obviously you see more people on that kind of a day than you would maybe in normal interactions.
Right.
What are some of the things you hear about Mason Transit? From people that are walking by, wanting to learn more about the transit, they use it or they don't use it, or what's the deal with it?
I think the most surprising facts that I share with people who stop by a booth when I'm at an event like that is that if they're not from around here, the fact that we're fare free.
Right.
That's a really unique aspect of our agency. And then the other is that where we go. Like there's so many places we go that people don't even realize, and we've talked about that before. As far as you can get to Seattle before 8 o'clock for 50 cents to $1.50.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Before, did I say 4 o'clock? I meant 8 o'clock. And that you can make all these connections. You can get up to Brennan, and then you can get to Port Townsend, and you can go to Olympia, and then from there you can connect and go out to Ocean Shores, or you can go down to Centralia Chehalis, and I think where there's a gap in transit might be between Lewis County and down to Vancouver. But I mean, literally, you can go anywhere from here. It's part of why that's kind of our tagline. So I think folks are really surprised by that. And some of our routes, how frequent they are. So, for instance, our Route 5 and our Route 7, which are some local routes, those are routes that are every hour starting at 6 in the morning to like 8 at night. The fact that we have a route to Olympia almost every hour as well. So I think people expect, being such a small rural agency, that we have really limited service. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still limitations and there's things that we would love to expand, but you can't.
There's limitations everywhere.
Yeah. You just have to have the funding for it. So, and that our dial-a-ride is for anybody and everybody, not just seniors and people with disabilities. I think a lot of folks are not quite sure of that. Yeah. Almost everybody, if they have not ridden our service or had a family member or a kid or something, they're very surprised. What do you mean? I'm like, really, you could just pick up the phone and call. And if we have a bus available, it's going to come get you and take you where you need to go. Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Next week, if you could bring in the new schedule and guidebook, we can talk about that. I see you're all around the county dropping those off. So
I did that last week, got them all delivered. I will say, unfortunately, there was a little bit of a misprint.
Uh-oh.
Yep. It looks like every box has just a couple misprinted it. When I talked to the vendor, they said their throwaway tray may have accidentally got mixed up in there. And so if you happen to get a schedule book that repeats the Route 2 to Route 6 schedule information, just know that you can pick up a different one and recycle that one.
Well, let's bring that in. Let's look at the guidebook, look at the schedule, and you can find all the information about the Great Mason Transit Authority at masontransit.org, on Facebook at mason.transit, and MTA alerts on Twitter as well. Christina Fremont, thanks for coming in today. Always a great talk.
Yep.
We'll talk to you next week. 8:23 now at iFiber One News Radio.
The ocean waves